Madison Keys and Jessica Pegula join Coco Gauff to speak on Donald Trump's administration. Big melting pot. Madison Keys surged into the third round with a commanding win over Ashlyn Kruger as American tennis shone in Melbourne, with Jessica Pegula also advancing by beating McCartney Kessler. Yet the post-match spotlight shifted as both Keys and Pegula followed Coco Gauff's lead, speaking candidly about the Donald Trump administration and reframing the day's narrative. Right after her second-round match at the Australian Open, Keys was asked about Donald Trump's second term and how she felt personally about the state of affairs and growing tension within the United States. "I think my stance has been pretty obvious. I think it's pretty obvious where I stand, and I am hopeful that we as a country can come together and get back to the values that I think make our country great," replied the reigning Australian Open champion. Keys then spoke about division and identity in the United States. "I am not a fan of divisiveness, and I think the beauty of the US is that we are a mixing pot. We are very diverse. We are a home of immigrants, and I hope that we can get back to those values." Jessica Pegula was asked the same question in her press conference, echoing Keys' words. "I just hope that everybody can kind of, at some point, come together and work together as far as situations or whether it's political or not political in our country," Pegula said. She also addressed the global spotlight on the United States. "I feel like, we have a big country where there's a lot of media attention on us too, and that's tough because things definitely make their way around the world. And even me being in Australia, you hear about all these things going on back home." When asked about Florida, her home state, Pegula replied, "Personally, Florida's been, I think, okay. I think Florida, there's a big melting pot of different people from all over in Florida. Florida to me, at least where I live, has been fine." The topic first surfaced when Coco Gauff was questioned about the state of America under Donald Trump's second administration yesterday. The 21-year-old, who's always been politically outspoken, answered thoughtfully, "I hope forward that we can have a lot more peace in our country and more kindness in the way we speak to each other about different topics and things like that," Gauff said. She later explained the emotional weight behind those conversations. "At this point, I feel a bit fatigued talking about it just because of the fact that it is hard being a black woman in this country and having to experience things, even online, and seeing marginalized communities being affected and knowing that I can only donate and speak out. I try my best to do that." While the discussion off-court drew attention, the on-court results told a strong story. Madison Keys continued her impressive run at the Australian Open. She moved through the rounds with confidence and control. Jessica Pegula has also looked sharp in Melbourne. Like Keys, she has yet to drop a set. Both Americans advanced into the third round, letting their tennis do most of the talking. Madison Keys unfazed by title drought ahead of Australian Open third round since winning her maiden Grand Slam title at the Australian Open 12 months ago. Madison Keys has not reached another tour-level final. Her most recent semi-final appearance came in June on grass at the Queen's Club. This gap has sparked questions about her chances of defending the title in Melbourne. Still, the American remains confident in her game and mindset. "Last year I played some unbelievable tennis, and it's one of those things where you have moments in your career where things just aren't going right, and that's how it felt for a couple of weeks," she said. She also cautioned against oversimplifying past success. "But even then I feel like there were still moments throughout the Australian Open last year where things got really tricky, and it's easy to look back and romanticize it and think I played unbelievable tennis." Now, a serious test awaits her in the next round. Keys will face former world number 1 Karolina Pliskova. The Czech is a two-time Grand Slam finalist and brings experience and firepower. Pliskova is enjoying a resurgence in Melbourne after a difficult period. Injuries limited her to just 2 WTA 125 events last year. As a result, she dropped outside the top 1,000 in the rankings. She entered the draw using her protected ranking and has made the most of the opportunity. With both players carrying different narratives, the question remains: will Keys emerge victorious, or does a tough battle await? Below is a creative and thoughtful piece, within 2,000 words, about Madison Keys and Jessica Pegula joining Coco Gauff to speak on Donald Trump's administration and their comments about America as a big melting pot. This narrative blends context, reflection, and imagination to explore not only what they said, but why it matters and what it reflects about athletes, society, and cultural dialogue today. Voices beyond the baseline. When tennis stars speak on America's identity and future in the flow of competition, every rally, every serve, every sprint across the court carries kinetic urgency, the kind that leaves spectators breathless. Yet sometimes, off the court, in press rooms where tennis and world affairs intersect, the space for words becomes a different kind of arena, one where meaning matters as much as momentum. At the 2026 Australian Open, the spotlight wasn't just on rackets and results. It landed also on American tennis stars Coco Gauff, Madison Keys, and Jessica Pegula, not just as elite athletes but as voices contributing to a broader cultural conversation about identity, unity, division, and the idea of America itself in a politically charged era. Tennis as a mirror, sport and society collide. Tennis has never existed in a vacuum. From Arthur Ashe's advocacy for racial equality to Billie Jean King's role in gender equity, the sport has long intersected with social change. Yet in the tennis capital of the world, Melbourne, in January 2026, this intersection took on an unexpected dimension. After their matches, Keys and Pegula were asked about Donald Trump's second administration, a question not directly tied to their athletic achievements but to their roles as Americans. For athletes like these three women, each with her own journey, identity, and following, the question wasn't just political, but personal. Point 2. Coco Gauff, the weight of words and hope for respect. Coco Gauff, at 21 and one of the sport's brightest stars, has never shied away from speaking her mind. Her comments after a straight sets win at the tournament reflected both weariness and hope. She spoke of fatigue when addressing political questions, especially as a Black woman navigating public life in the United States. Yet, she also expressed hopeful clarity that Americans could aspire to more peace, empathy, and kindness in how they discuss difficult topics. This blend of realism and aspiration reveals something profound. When someone explains that talking about the state of the nation is hard, it's not because they lack conviction. It's because the conversation has meaning far beyond headlines. It affects families, communities, and self-identity in ways that no match score can quantify. 3. Madison Keys, unity, diversity, and the melting pot vision. Madison Keys, known for her athletic prowess and candid spirit, echoed sentiments that resonated across cultures.